Processing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow.
This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, appropriate that even the Beastie Boys are yelling about conspiracy theories. I can't
Yesterday
stand it.
was sabotage.
I know you planned it. They mentioned Watergate in there. You know what the Watergate Hotel is, Alex, our producer?
No.
Look it up.
No.
He has no idea. See? These are the type of things we got to learn. We were going through conspiracy theories before the show that weren't even sports related. The sports conspiracy theories by themselves that have popped up over the past 24 hours have been fascinating and disappointing and sad all at the same time, and wild at the very least. Joining us on the program to help us sift through the real and the fake. He's no conspiracy theorist. He just is. He's a man of facts. We were so excited because when I saw Tim Reynolds' name on the rundown today, I went, "Oh, Tim's gonna have some stuff to yell about." Tim Reynolds covers the NBA for the Associated Press. Tim, how was your day yesterday, brother?
It was rigged. I think the whole thing was rigged.
Your day was rigged.
Don't say that to Utah right now.
Not the draft lottery. No, that was totally legitimate. I had travel issues.
Oh,
That's what I meant. I didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I was going to say maybe you had like 14% odds on some kind of dinner option or something, and it didn't go your way.
It fell through. It fell through.
You know what stinks, though, is that when you look at it, and as soon as you saw Utah, so you knew two teams got jumped. So it's a 50-50 chance that the Jazz are, one of them at that point. And then you look at the math, and you're like, the system says 50% of the time the team with the worst record will get exactly the fifth pick. And that's when it hit me that I hate this system. I don't love the lottery system at all. I mean, there was this may shock you and your loyal listeners. There was a perception around the league this year that the Jazz were not overly interested in winning games. Do with that what you will. We will not say the T word. That said, it's just a system that says you have a 14% chance of 1, you have a really good chance of being 1 through 4, but if all else fails, you're 5. I don't love the math on that system. And so you do feel, for as good as you feel for Dallas fans today when you're not a Utah fan, for as good as you feel for Dallas fans, you really feel badly for Utah fans. Washington guys, they went through just as much not fun this year as the Jazz did, and they get the 6th pick out of this. I don't love the system. I don't know what the answer is, but, man, I'm not loving the system today.
And, Tim, look at all the suffering that the Hornets have had to go through over the years. I mean, they're perpetually in the lottery, and the best they have to show for it all these years is LaMelo Ball. I mean, has the NBA finally figured out, and it's taking time for everyone to figure out, by flattening these lottery odds, have they finally been able to punish teams for tanking, and are you going to see less teams now on try not to do what they've been doing to get that number 1 overall pick? Because it's pretty clear that 14% odds aren't great, and tanking doesn't end very well for a lot of teams.
No. I mean, the Jazz odds of winning the number 1 pick were only 7 times better than Dallas's, a little over 7. And Dallas played in the finals last year. So there is definitely – it is very punitive for tankers, this system, without question. Fans don't tank. And this is what I keep going back to. If there are organizational decisions like, okay, this is our gap year, we know we're not good enough to do X, Y, or Z, so let's continue building, let's continue doing it this way. Perfectly reasonable. Owners pay money. Owners pay a lot of money to players, a lot of money to coaches, a lot of money to staff. And if they decide that the $200 or $300 million in payroll alone to run an organization, if they decide that's better served by winning 17 games this year, so be it. That's on them. I'm not going to tell an owner how to spend his or her money. The fans don't get a vote. And the tickets are not priced accordingly. And the parking is not priced accordingly. And the hot dogs and the soda are not priced accordingly. I really feel for the fans that have to deal with what will be elongated rebuilds. Look, and like I told you guys last time, I think there's some things to feel good about in Utah. Like, it's a good draft. The 5 pick will be a good player. It might not be an impact player right away, but then again, I don't know if Cooper Flagg's going to be an impact player for Dallas right away. Cooper Flagg in Utah, though, you could have seen everything changes overnight, right? You've got an 18-year-old, the next great hope. He's not LeBron. He's not Victor Wembanyama, but he's adjacent to that draft buzz, right? And the Jazz have been a good enough franchise. The fan base has been good enough for a long time that you kind of hope that it would have happened that way. And so I do genuinely feel for Jazz fans today.
I feel for Celtics fans who walk away from another year of well, I mean, it's not like it's ever happened to him, but, and you certainly hope that it wouldn't have happened to a guy like him, but a superstar in the league and Jason Tatum with now the confirmed Achilles injury that's going to keep him out likely until, at the very least, like right now of next year. I think a good timeline is 9 months now on the Achilles, but even then you've got to get back into game shape, and then nobody wants to rush you. So the Celtics are in a weird spot because their superstar gets carried off of the court and their playoffs feel like they're going to be over. What's the fallout going to be from Jason Tatum and that injury for the Celtics? And then how does that affect even the way that they might look at what the future of their roster looks like when you have a big injury like that? So
it's amazing how last night at wherever you were in the country at 7:25 Eastern, at 5:25 in Salt Lake, at whatever time that is in Honolulu, like breakfast, I don't know, wherever you are in the country. The biggest story in the NBA is Cooper Flagg and the Mavs get Cooper Flagg. And then 2 hours later, you don't realize it in that moment, but this is earth-shattering for the Celtics, not just because you lose a franchise player for, let's face it, like you said, 9 months is about the best-case scenario. And even if he does come back for the last 2 months of next season, he's not going to be Jason Tatum. He'll be a good player. He won't be Jason Tatum right away again. I do think he'll get back to being Jason Tatum, but it's not going to be overnight, obviously. That's a team that right now on paper owes about $510 million in salary and tax for the 25-26 season. That figure will change. Like, deals will get made, and the tax is only based on where you are at the end of next season. Like, I get all that. But we all knew that they were going to have some decisions to make this summer, whether they won it or not. They were going to have decisions to make. Now you have new owners who are literally in the throes of spending $6-point-something billion to buy the Celtics, who were evidently willing to absorb some sort of mammoth tax bill. I had to get mammoth in somewhere.
Well done.
Hey, we can say it now. Now we can say it. I could always say it. Yeah, now you can say it. You've got this tax bill. What do you do? Like, you're not going to have Jason Tatum for most of next season. You have a decision to make on the role guys. I can't believe that, first of all, they're not going to be a 60-win team next year without Jason Tatum. Are you willing to pay that sort of tax bill for a year and then keep it rolling in 26, 27 with who knows what the core will be? Al Horford, I don't think will still be there in 26, 27. You don't know about Porzingis and how much longer he's really got. You can't keep the Pritchards and the Hausers. You can't keep all of those guys together without the bill only going up. There are massive decisions that the Celtics were facing, and they got worse in an instant last night. Jason Tatum was playing, guys, when he got hurt, 42 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. Nobody in Celtics history had ever done that in a game, ever. Mm-hmm. Jason Tatum was having the game of a Celtic lifetime last night. And that's the moment that the Achilles decide to say, hi, I'm out of here.
Wow. It's
cruel, but they will have incredibly cold decisions to make this summer. Now you have and people have, and let's not act like the Giannis thing is new. Like, it's been written about for 2 years. The Giannis story that came out this week, it's not new. Everyone knew at some point there would be a bridge that Giannis would decide whether it's time to cross or not. Do the Celtics try to get involved in a Giannis deal? Do the Celtics do what the Warriors did on their way to the 22 title and take a gap year? There's all sorts of really radical options that they now have to think about. it's going to be. It was already going to be a crazy summer. It got a lot crazier by no fault of Jason Tatum's own, but the Celtics now have incredibly tough decisions to make.
You mentioned the Bucks are going to have some tough decisions to make. There's several teams on that fringe that either made the playoffs and lost in the first round or missed the playoffs that might be having similar conversations because of their cap situation, because of the luxury tax penalties. It could be an opportunity around the league for some stars to be jettisoned. And is this an opportunity for a team like the Utah Jazz, who were in the T-word mode last year? Could they pivot and try to get involved in this trade game that could take place this offseason? How do you see that situation? Is that a possibility?
First of all, I really like that you're saying last season already, even though it was only a month ago.
We are
I really
so ready to move on.
I so like the pivoting. Like, it's still this season, but it for 22 teams and maybe 23 after tonight if Indiana wins. It already is next season, I do like the pivot that way. Of course there's opportunities. I don't know if it's a really good business practice if you're an NBA front office guy when Daniel R. Ainge is calling you, when his name pops up on your phone. If it's a great idea to answer because you're probably not going to get the best of the deal that's being presented to you. Danny Ainge is really, really good in these moments. Danny Ainge is really, really good at seizing opportunity. You have to be really encouraged by what Ryan Smith tweeted today, or X'd today, whatever the saying is now, about how, hey, this is us. This is where we are. It was never going to be easy. Let's do this. If that truly is the organizational credo, then Danny Ainge is one of the right guys for the job. He might not be the only one, but he's certainly the right guy for the job. And there is opportunity there. Deals are coming. Deals are going to get made. And you need a second or third or fourth team now, even in this NBA, to make a deal. And there's nothing that's going to stop the Utah Jazz from saying, let's be one of them. You've got young players. You've got options. You've got things you can do. There's financial flexibility that the Jazz have that a lot of teams don't. There's a lot of things that make the Jazz attractive to deal with. Danny Ainge being on the other end of the call is not one of them. But you're well-positioned to get involved. And Danny's not going to sit idle. We all know that. So, yes, will San Antonio take a run? If the Thunder don't get past Denver, Sam Presti has all of these draft picks for a reason. Sam Presti's going to go whale hunting with all of those draft picks. If they go out in the second round again with a 68-win team, they're going to do something, and they're going to swing for something big. Do the Spurs get involved with Giannis? All of these deals with these guys making 50, 60, 70 million a couple of years from now, you're going to need additional teams to facilitate. Utah absolutely should get involved and figure out how they can get better just by helping other deals get facilitated. At minimum, do that. It's a total position of strength for teams like the Jazz.
Tim, one of the things before we let you go here is, with all the things that do happen, there are so many names that float around, and you talked about Danny Ainge going out and grabbing somebody. Who's like, what's a big name that you would look at and you go, I actually don't hate this person's name associated with Utah going out and grabbing somebody like this person or this, because obviously the tanking part, not that that's the word that they use around here, but the what was it? What did they say? The
T word.
No, but there was,
what?
I can't remember what we called it. It was just like, anyway, there was some, youth development.
Yeah. The youth movement.
The youth movement.
It was a red shirt year. It was a red shirt year for everybody.
Well, it might be worse next year. I mean, quite honestly, I think that was the gut punch that people felt like was, we're going to have to see another bad. The rock bottom hasn't been hit yet, but what are some names out there that you look at and you go, that could be somebody that could fit on a Jazz-type team, and you got to go out and maybe look for somebody like that?
It's a really, really, really good question. And I think to get to that place, you got to look at other teams that aren't quite in Utah's position because there was only one 17-win team. But you just look at guys that just don't kind of fit where they are. Terry Rozier was a good player in this league. He has struggled since coming to Miami. Do you take a flyer on Terry Rozier, who's expiring? Do you take a flyer at somebody like that, who's been a good player at times in this league? Let's be fair. Do you go for somebody like that as a stopgap? Okay, it takes us to the next phase. Do you go all in and call the Phoenix Suns and say, what's it going to take for Devin Booker? Like, Brad Beal's kind of untouchable, because no one's going to take on Brad Beal with the no trade. And he's not going to give up the no trade. He'll waive it to get traded, but then he's going to insist that he keeps the no trade. That's going to make him impossible for a lot of teams, Utah among them, to even think about it. Do you take a swing at Devin Booker? Do you take a swing at, nobody talks about him getting moved. John Morant's getting moved. At some point, it's going to happen. Do you look at something like that? Or if Ja wants out, then do you say, well, Jaren Jackson, would you like to come here? Would you like a franchise to share with Lowry and as a franchise guy? You don't have – you have a good player in Lowry. But do you have anybody on the team that can be the best player on a championship team? You don't. That's not knocking anybody. You have some really good number twos, but you don't have a really good one. Find who that guy is. Like Kyle Kuzma. I think Kyle Kuzma is one of the most underrated guys in the league.
Yeah, played at Utah too. Got the Utah tie.
That's right. So you've got there's some really good players out there that if they buy in to the goal here for this year. Let's be realistic. You're not going to go from 17 wins to 60. If the goal is if next year's going to be the year that Utah says, let's play meaningful games in March and April. Let's try to get 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's try to get into the play-in. There's some really good players that aren't bona fide stars, but they're not role players either, that can help, that are somewhat affordable. Does Jordan Poole get moved again? Jordan Poole is still a young guy who's a very good back. You have a ton of options. You're not going to be shopping for a max guy. But there's going to be some really good players out there in that 25, 30 million range, which is crazy to think that's like middle tier now, but it is. There's some really good players like that. You get one of those, and he buys into what Will and Danny are selling as far as, look, we want to be kind of like Detroit. Look at Detroit, guys. That's the model. They got Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr. Two deals that when they happened, nobody cared about. And they were the keys to that team going from 14 wins to 44. It doesn't have to be the big, splashy, huge headline name. Go out and find your Tobias Harris and your Tim Jr., and you can be in the play-in mix next season.
Tim Reynolds, he writes for the AP. We didn't even get to talk about hockey today, but we'll leave it for another day. So we'll.
Panthers going to win the cup. That's all.
Okay. There you go. Tim Reynolds. Appreciate him joining us on the program today, as usual. And so he does a phenomenal job. We love having him on the program.
Thanks, Tim.
My goodness.
Take care,
There's some hope there.
There's names. He threw names out there.
He
threw names out.
He had a lot of positive there, and I continue to lean towards this Jazz franchise pivoting and letting Danny Ainge cook. Let Danny Ainge do what he's been legendary at, and go make stuff happen. Use your assets and go make something happen. Don't sit around and wait for the lottery gods to bless you when they never will.
Yeah.
Because they don't bless anybody anymore because they don't exist.
Well, and on top of it, boy, you went full draft atheist, huh?
I am a draft atheist. I do not believe in the lottery gods. Prove it to me.
I love when you're like this. Hey, and all you lottery believers out there, I hate to break it to you, but the lottery gods don't exist.
I'm
JJ.
X-lottery.
JJ went full X lottery.
Yep.
Well, hey, you don't have to be like this, though. You don't have to be like that, right? Just to let people have.
I've been hurt, Alex. I've been hurt.
Fine. All right. Oh my goodness. We'll get right back to it. We've got more to go. Stay with us right here, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.